Hi, let me introduce myself. My name is Liz Habib. Please have a seat, Tim. My name is Liz Habib. I'm the sports anchor at Fox 11 in Los Angeles, Monday through Friday, and I do NFL post-game. Fox just picked up Thursday. We'll do Thursday night football. We do Sunday football. Big shout out to Jackie Slater. Jackie Slater, Vince Ferragamo, and I do NFL post-game together. I'm so glad you're over there. And Tim, I brought you your plaque. Beautiful, from the Hall of Fame, and those are my notes.
Thank you.
Christian called me and said, Liz, can you ask the guys a couple questions after they get inducted? I'll get them. Oh. After they get inducted, ask them a couple questions. Do you realize the careers these guys have had? How do you ask them a couple questions after careers like that? So I sat with Jackie and we watched those highlights. They're so impressive, Tim. And I said, Jackie, what do you think a guy like Tim's thinking when he watches highlights like that of himself? And Jackie said, I don't know, but I'll tell you, I am so impressed with that. I could never do stuff like that. What do you think when you look at a highlight reel like that?
Well, the older I get, I think more and more and more. I want to see more and more and more, you know. But, you know, it was a time where, you know, you really didn't have time to think. You just reacted. You did what you had to do. And looking back on it now, it's certainly a lot of fun to be able to watch all that. My kids were at the table like, you should have had us earlier, because they missed most of my career. But it's always fun to see at this point.
It would have been fun. You'd had all that bragging rights going through school, right? Big congratulations to your family, too. There's always a good family behind somebody who achieves such greatness. Tim, can you believe that you're being inducted into the California Sports Hall of Fame after what you did to USC on that final game of the season in 1986? This is a legendary story. Those of you from SC or Notre Dame know this story. It's the biggest game of the year, last game of the year, and I want you to talk about it in a minute. But first, let me give you a little background. SC was winning the game. Notre Dame was down by 17 points with 13 minutes to go. I think it's the year before you won your Heisman.
Yes.
Lou Holt's first or second year?
First year.
Lou Holt's first year. Okay, 13 minutes left in the game. And in comes Tim Brown and Steve Berline. Was it a 56-yard punt return? Maybe some receptions.
I don't quite remember, but 57 if I'm...
Okay. I don't quite remember 57 and a half, but don't worry. Notre Dame, in the last 13 minutes of the game, comes on and wins the game by 1 point. This is the USC Notre Dame game. It was senior night. The fans at SC were so upset. Do you know? They booed the team off the field. USC booed their team off the field. The very next day, the coach, Ted Tollner, got fired. His entire staff got fired. SC was ranked 17th in the country. What was your record at Notre Dame that season?
We were 4-6 coming into that game, so we were not right.
They booed the team off the field and did not let the seniors have senior night. The entire staff got fired, including a running backs coach by the name of Foster Anderson. Excuse me, I got that wrong. A defensive back coach named by Foster Anderson, who from there on out had nightmares the rest of his life about a man named Tim Brown. How do I know? His son is my producer. What do you remember about that?
Well, their mistake was they kicked me the ball. They shouldn't have kicked me the ball at the end of the game. You know, coming into that game, we knew it was going to be tough. SC was playing great football, and we were just trying to get used to this new system that Lou Holtz had put in place. And, you know, you get 17 points down in a game like that in the fourth quarter, you think, okay, let's see if we can make a play, and if we can make a play, then we'll see what happens. They hadn't punted me the ball all day, and you know, I was back there. Matter of fact, if you look at the play, we ran a half block on one side of the field, and the other side they said, just in case Tim gets a ball, let's do a return on the right side. And if you look at the play, when the ball is in the air, I'm like jumping like a little kid because I can't believe that they're punting the ball right down the middle of the field to me. And so, you know, you catch the ball, you do what you do, and that was able to set up the winning field goal. What I really remember about that game, after the game, the great late Jim Murray came up to me and told me that I was going to be his front runner for the Heisman. And I can remember at that time, Notre Dame, the last game of the year, we would end up in Miami or Florida, and we would spend the whole week out there. So my family was out there, and I remember going out and I asked my brother, well, even if I don't win the Heisman, do you think somebody may want me to play in the NFL? Because I was so locked in on education and going home and all that stuff, and you know, using my education to do whatever, that we had never even thought about it. And that was the first time I thought about maybe I had a chance to play in the NFL.
Wow. And then you became part of the all-decade team of the 90s in the NFL. I'd read a story somewhere that in your freshman year in high school, you weren't playing football, you were in the band.
Well, I was in the marching band, but I played freshman football, but I was in the marching band for the varsity football team. So the story goes that my mom, who never wanted me to play football, didn't know that I was playing varsity football my sophomore year. My dad would always sign the papers, so she didn't know what I was doing. Thank God for them dads, you know what I mean?
That's right.
So silly me, I got off to a great start my sophomore year and made a couple touchdowns, and I got named sophomore sensation for the first month of the season. And so somebody called my mom and said, your son is in the paper. So she's looking through the criminal sections like, why are you in the paper? What did you do? What did you do? And I said, Mom, maybe you should look at the sports page. And there I was on the front of the sports page. So.
What did your mom think after your career, as your career went on? She didn't want you to play football, so is there any point at which she was like, okay?
Let me tell you, Lisa, she, to her credit, up until I was like 34, 35, she kept saying, are you going to quit this year? Are you going to quit? You don't have to play anymore. I think you proved to people.
Did she know how much money you made doing that?
Well, she has a house, and she had a house and a car, so I think she understood what was going on. No doubt about it. But, she's a great woman, and she cared more about me living right and being the man that I am today than she ever cared about me scoring a touchdown.
Roger went over a lot of that. Yeah, it's a great story. Roger went over a lot of your accomplishments, and we can go, oh my gosh, he didn't even touch them. But is there one shining moment in there somewhere for you?
I think for me, when I tore my knee up myself, my rookie year, I had an incredible year, broke a lot of records, and, probably rookie records that may stand for a long time. Then the very next year, the opening game, I tore my knee up. And so being able to come back from that, I can remember Al Davis coming up to me and, Tema, he called me Tema. Tema, can you still do it? Can you do it like you used to do it? And that was the thing, would I be able to come back and make those moves and have that speed that I had before I had the injury? And so for me, I think the first time I made the Pro Bowl after my injury, I think I sort of realized that I had an opportunity to have a good career still.
Was that your best Al Davis?
That's all I got.
Mark, how do you do?
That's all I got. That's all I got, Mark. That's it. That's all I got.
One last question, because this is what's coming up. So it'll be the first Monday Night Football game. It'll be the Los Angeles Rams versus the Oakland Raiders in Oakland at the Coliseum this season. It'll be John Gruden versus Sean McVay. Mentor versus mentee. Who you giving the game to?
Come on now.
No, don't you just come on now me just because it's the Raiders.
Ask them that, but
Sean McVay or John Gruden?
Hey,
Can John Gruden do it this season, or has he been out of this too long?
Well, look, he hasn't been out of it, though. I think what people are overlooking is the fact that he's had the opportunity to interview all the great players in the league. He's had the opportunity to interview offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators, and I know John. He has it written down someplace. And I think from that standpoint, I think he has a major advantage of almost every coach in the league going into this year. Now, people are going to have to change what they're doing when they get ready to play because they know he has everything written down. But that's tough too for a team to try and change what they do for one particular game. So I don't think Gruden is ever going to be in a position where he's out of position, so to speak. This is a guy who loves the game like nobody else, like no other coach I've ever been around for sure. So I think from that standpoint, man, it's not going to be about him. It's going to be about the players buying into this old school, hard-nosed football that he wants to play. And if they buy in, I think they'll be great.
And Mark Davis is in the room.
And Mark Davis in the room.
Congratulations. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
I could go on and on with you.
All right. Appreciate it.